Center Radio, home of the Property Therapy and Talent Development Program. That was the Lost Tool Bucket theme song. We are the home, again, of the Property Therapy and Talent Development Program. Here we are live at American Heritage Center. I'm with my co-host, John Pine. And property therapy is where property has problems or issues, it needs therapy. And then taking care of property, it takes care of you, property therapy. And in those that know how to take care of property, get property. That's how it worked, and that's how it's historically worked in America. Those that work hard and work their gig with a passion, they get property and they can start leveraging it in their lives and moving forward in their lives. And so we have lots of property stories to talk to you about, not only in the news but in our own lives. And we're going to be covering the gun couple that was charged in the Chicago mass shootings at the funeral, and the Portland Wall of Mom, the walls of the mom, and the U.S. debt, and the low-income housing destroyed by the fires, and Antifa, the new KKK, and then our own property stories. Going to talk about a trial that I was called as an expert witness this weekend, and our installation of an HVAC or a AC system in my dad's car here at the Heritage Center this week. So, all right, John, it's good to have you with us.
Hey, good to be here. We've had a busy week.
Yes. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Property stories. The gun couple that was charged. So we have a ongoing story here. So what happened was the couple here in St. Louis was charged for defending their property when a mob came to destroy it. They brandished their guns and was able to back the mob off and prevent their property from being destroyed.
Yeah, it looks like the prosecutor there charged him with a couple charges, and the state attorney general has stepped in, and it's kind of unprecedented for him to step into a case like this, but he's asking the court to drop the charges. And here's the he says that self-defense is a core lawful purpose and a central component of the right to keep and bear arms, and it's enshrined in both the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment and the Missouri Constitution. He says Missouri has adopted one of the strongest versions of the Castle Doctrine, which is a legal doctrine that expressly authorizes the use of force to defend the security of one's person, family, home, and property. Third thing here is that this highly publicized case would keep other citizens from exercising their rights to keep and bear arms in defense of their home and family, because if they see somebody getting charged for it, they'd be less likely to defend themselves with their arms.
In the United States, the Second Amendment has been the equality for the common person. It gives the common person equality to be able to defend themselves and their family.
Definitely, that's the equalizer of and the enforcer of the laws that we keep, through the citizens' rights to bear arms, the police force, and then our military for the whole country.
And really, the Second Amendment helps you to have property stability, and it backs off the government control for tyrannical government, and gives the ability to defend your hearth and home. And this is something that communist and that we'll call them commu-fascist regimes don't want to have. They want all the control and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you can have all the security alarms and cameras you want, but if there's not some firepower to back that up when you need it, what's all that stuff worth? You just get to watch your property get burned?
Yeah, so it is Alice in Wonderland mode that we're in right here in the United States, where the people that are defending their hearth and home from the mob destructions, and they get charged, and but the people that, and no shots were fired, were they? And no shots were fired, and they get charged with a felony. Yet when shots are fired in Chicago in this mass shooting, nobody so far has been charged, and most, like 70-80% of the shootings and the killings in that city no one ever gets charged.
Yeah, it looks like they had this funeral. 15 people were shot. I think it was a couple days ago. And see, they even had 2 squad cars and a full tactical team guarding this funeral, and they still had 15 people get shot. I mean, what's the world coming to if you get shot at a funeral where you've got guards there already? And what you see that stuff happening in other countries, but you would never imagine that would happen here.
And we look through the world through the property therapy lens here, and we see how the crime and the instability in the city affects property values, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Every killing and crime going on in that area makes the area less valuable because it's less desirable, and people that don't want to stay there, then it reduces property values, and then so they have less property tax base, and then the schools go down because they have not a good property tax base, and the instability creates capital, and it creates talent flight from that area.
It just kills the economy, the economic life of that entire area where the crime's going on.
And so we've been talking about getting the security bars and cameras to help property owners defend their property rights.
Yeah, we'd like to help people get things they need to protect themselves, and find a good contractor to help them do that. And we were thinking about getting into that.
So the Heritage Center, we want to see people being able to realize their dreams with property. So the valuation in our property, we have our property value number line, or property issue number line, and valuation is a positive issue on property. Because you have the negative issues that destroy the materially challenge the existence of the property. With mobs would be negative issues, or maintenance issues, the degradation of property. Those would be the negative, and the positive issues would be valuation, acquisition, definition of property. Acquisition would be like credit scores, like we talked about last week.
Yes. It's like it devalues the credit of your whole neighborhood. It's like your neighborhood's credit score is how much crime have you had over history.
That's for real. They have the financiers in the big financing houses in New York. They actually have cities have credit scores. States have credit scores. And I know this is legit because I had a sister that used to work for in these financing offices in New York, and that was her job, was to start coming up with the credit rate, like researching what the credit ratings of the municipalities are. So that's how their bonds, the interest rate on the bonds, and how they can get capital and private equity that invest in cities. And when you have fire, mobocracy, and anarchy going on in the cities, it has effect on the credit rating.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And not in a good way. And so we have in Chicago, not only is the mass shootings at a funeral. This is like right out of the movies, the mob movies that in the Hollywood with the gangster movies, shooting at the funeral.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing you'd only see in the movies or some other country before modern times.
This is not America. This is not our country. So not only do we find that in Chicago, but we have also the 10-year-olds hijacking cars in Chicago.
Yeah, there was a group of, they call it teens, 10 to 17-year-old children that were carjacking guns or cars at gunpoint, and robbing people, taking their cars, and then using those cars in other crimes. It's like they were like a roving gang of armed kids, just out there committing these horrendous crimes in South Chicago. It's just crazy. The stuff's going on.
And then taking the cars that they stole and to use to commit other crimes. So it's surreal, and how this affects the disrespect for property values, or property and property values, and but and that leads us to the wall. The wall of moms didn't protect the cars, did they, or the people did they?
Yeah, I see the Black Lives Matter protesters brought in a wall of moms to separate the protesters from from the authorities to try to, I'm not sure what their goal there was, but try to protect themselves.
Yeah, but we're in Portland here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wall of moms was a group of hundreds of mothers have attended the demonstrations and stood as a human barricade between Black Lives Matter protesters and federal officers in Portland after seeing videos circulated online of federal agents in camouflage snatching demonstrators off the streets.
Yeah, and these protests have been going on almost every night for what, 2 months now. Everybody was focused on the Chaz and the Chop going on in Seattle, but the stuff in Portland seemed like it's the story that everybody was missing while this other stuff was going on and was getting on the cameras. But this has been going on. It's looks like it's been out of hand for a while. They've been throwing fireworks and Molotov cocktails at federal buildings. I've just been on Facebook and seen a lot of Facebook Live videos of just things that are really going on that you don't see on the news.
So this is a result. This is from the issue of police power of property, which is on the property value, which is on the property issue number line would be police power would be connected with like defensive property from mom. So it would be connected. It would be defensive property would be a positive property issue from the standpoint of the property owner. So we have the police power here, and the Portland Wall of Moms that are enabling the property destruction going on. We have, for those that want to tune in and go online and watch our podcast of this radio show, go onto YouTube. We now have a YouTube channel for the property therapy program here, live at the American Heritage Center, and our YouTube channel online is AHC Zion, and that's American Heritage Center, so AHC Zion on YouTube, and you can see our property therapy videos. We have got several videos on there, and then we have a video from last week's show is on there, and this week's show is going to be on there.
Yeah, it's we'll have that uploaded shortly here after the radio show, and because people have been wanting to see videos of what we're actually doing and the pictures, and we're going to get that content out to them. We got some better cameras and some microphones coming in this week, and so look for some big quality improvements in the show coming up.
Yeah, we want to take this show national while we still have a country. And things are starting to get out of control. Like our deficit's going out it's been like thrown out the window.
Yeah, let's look at the U.S. national debt right now on the USDebtClock.org website. It shows you the rolling numbers. It's rolling like an odometer out of control here. It's $26.554 trillion, which is just a number. Like, how can you even wrap your head around that? 26 and a half, heading fast. It looks to $27 trillion. I know the coronavirus had a lot to do with how fast that went up this year, and things like that. You can't budget for something like that, but it was pretty bad. The debt was pretty bad before then.
That translates to per citizen $80,000. So each citizen, everyone listening, you owe $80,000. How's that?
And then that's per citizen. If you just want to break it down per taxpayer, it's $213,000 per taxpayer. And who has that kind of money? How are you ever going to pay that off?
Yeah. So what happens if America goes broke? Well, it's going to go broke. It's going to go broke. There's fire. There's firestorm in the horizon. I see it.
My comparison here was like the frog that's being boiled in the hot water. Like, at what point does that frog go from hey, I'm okay to I'm not okay, and then all of a sudden I've been boiled to death? Seems like with this debt going up and up like this, what's the plan to even address that? You never even hear it being addressed.
Yeah, economically, it's going to crash. It's like you run your credit cards. You still, you get credit cards and you run it up. They're going to shut your credit cards down. So this is going to happen. The government economic system of the United States will crash, and it will be in our lifetime. And you know why? what this is gonna, it's gonna cause the rise for the need to have property therapy. It's gonna create a whole brave new world, and those that know how to do property therapy are gonna be the ones that survive.
Yeah, because when things really get chaotic, it doesn't even matter how much money you have. If you can't find somebody to do that kind of work that you're needing done, you're going to need to do that yourself. And you know, that's why we're trying to teach people how they can do things for themselves.
This is the American Heritage Center. This really, we mean it. This is our heritage, and we mean it. And if you want to survive, you better learn property therapy.
Yeah, there was a time, you look back through history, the people who could do for themselves are the ones who prospered, and the ones who built this country to begin with were the people who could get out and do this kind of work. And you know, with the help of YouTube and being able to buy find the parts and things you need on the internet, all that stuff you can do these days. That's 20 years ago even, it was just to be able to find the instructions or the parts to fix something was one of the biggest insurmountable tasks of the job you were trying to do. And now it's so easy. You can get on YouTube, you can find a video of someone doing it, you can find instruction manuals on websites, and it's just a lot easier than it used to be. There's no excuse that you can't do some of this stuff.
Property therapy is really also, from a spiritual standpoint, what you can take with you to the next world. It's all the skills that you have in this life that you develop, the people that you can help, that you can take that with you to be able, you can't take a pile of gold with you, you can't take the property with you, but you can take your ability to work on it with you.
I was talking to a friend of mine in our small church group here last Sunday, and he wasn't even aware of this show yet, because we're just now kind of getting up and getting things out there. But this is one of my friends I had not told about our show yet, and he was telling me his personal property story of he had some things done. He paid to have some things done, some work in his basement, and they weren't done right. And the next time it rained, he got some more water in his basement, and he said, well, I ended up having to get my money back from those guys for not doing the job right. He's like, I just decided, hey, I've got a friend that does this. I'm going to ask him for some tips. I'm just going to dive in and do this myself. And he was going through some things in his life at that time. And he says, work with my hands and having this time and putting in this work actually was like therapy for myself. Not only was I fixing the house, but it put me in a better mental state where I was able to handle my own challenges in my other parts of my life. So it was just amazing. And I said, hey, you're never going to guess what the subject of our radio show is that we do every Thursday. I said, would you like to come on the show? And he's agreed he's going to come on the show and tell his story here.
So property therapy, you get your FTS rings here. It's Follow the Spirit. You go on to the KCXL website and you'll see a picture of FTS rings, and we'll make a video of the FTS rings. FTS stands for Follow the Spirit. Follow the Spirit of God. So FTS, and we have them here at the Heritage Center. Get your FTS rings. So this is Following the Spirit. Let's talk about the why property therapy. You just talked about that. It has an intrinsic benefit for you. It also leads to self-respect. And the black community has very little self-respect for itself. They're talking about Black Lives Matter, this and that, this and that. And then they go out in violence, and they let the violence happen in the community. And I know that most of the black community isn't violent, but they let the violent people go at large and create all this havoc. And what happens is that they create this racist myth of the police is racist. So you're betraying your people, so you can't turn these people, these criminals that are at large, don't turn them into the cops, because the cops are racist. You're a traitor to your people.
Yeah, I mean, let's all get to building and fixing stuff instead of burning stuff down, and see how much better you feel about yourself, your fellow man.
Black Lives Matter, but not in an enterprising way. In large part, thanks to the Democrat Party that doesn't want enterprise. They don't want people being self-sufficient. They want people reliant and dependent on the government.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people out there building each other up, but you never see that on the news. Why does the news always have to show the worst? So
much stuff like Trump's opportunity zones, flushing back capital, and these in the inner city. We want this stuff. This notion that the extreme Democrat Party wants to promote that this country's antagonistic and wants to hurt the black community is what they want to promote their Marxist agenda.
I think this country's done a lot, to try to make up for what's happened in the past. And I don't know of any other country where people of any color can go and be as successful as they can be here.
So it not only does property therapy gives you self-respect, but also gives you respect for others' property.
Yeah, and it's like what we have right here is a story on this affordable housing that was burned down in the Minneapolis riot. They were building, how many units we have here? So it looks like they were building a 6-story building, what was the date on this? May 28th. They burned down what was going to be a low-income housing apartment building. And this is the kind of housing these people need, some nice new accommodations where they don't have to live in some house that's been dilapidated by some slumlord that it's always complained about in the inner city. So here they are building some affordable housing, some brand new, nice, everything's up to code. All your GFCIs are working in the bathrooms. You've got heat and AC that's not puffing out the smoke like some old places, in these downtown inner city slumlord ran old houses. These are nice new apartments, or they would have been. And now they don't know what it says here. They don't even know what they're going to do with the site now because it was burned down right in the middle of, looks like they had, a lot of it was almost done.
So who's going to invest in the inner city now? And who's going to provide property insurance on these buildings?
Yeah, that's going to lower the amount of taxes that were going to be collected in that area. When you have a building like that, it's going to need something like a supermarket. So then a supermarket comes in and provides jobs, and you don't have to drive or get on a bus to go to a nice supermarket on the other side of town, because you'd have your own when your community builds itself up and doesn't burn itself down. You get nicer stores, nicer retail opportunities and jobs. And
so it makes it harder when you have this kind of from property therapy lens. It makes it harder to create in this kind of property and steward this kind of property if the credit rating, it affects, ultimately that's what it comes down to. It affects the credit rating of the community in the area, and capital and investment, and people with talent don't want to be there.
Yeah, and just imagine being one of the people that had a job there, and here you are, going to work every day, and you've got your own struggles. Well, then now all of a sudden you're out of a job because somebody burned down your job site.
So not only does property therapy give self-respect and respect for others' property because you're fixing your property and once makes you take care of others, it also helps you sweat out your wickedness when you're working.
Yeah, they say the idle hands are the devil's playground, and just think of how many times that even your kids, just a most basic example, if you don't give your kids something fun to do, or just something to do, or something to learn, something to work on, they will find the crayons and they will start writing on the wall.
No doubt, and that would be property destruction, not property therapy.
Yeah, it's that's kind of an innocent form of destruction, but it's just an example of just human nature. Is just when your hands are idle, they will find something to do, and you got to direct them in the right way. Get some tools and build something. Don't set something on fire. Don't flip some cars over. Don't steal some TVs. Figure out how to improve things.
Yeah, get your FTS ratings and start doing some property therapy. So it helps you sweat out your wickedness and self-respect. So if you want to raise some good kids, get them into property therapy. Start channeling their talents, because you've always got a purpose. You've always got a job. You've always got something to do, a responsibility to take care of once you get up in the morning.
See, I've got a 4 and a 5-year-old, and my kids are always interested in what I'm doing. And if there's anything I can get them to help with, maybe putting some little pieces of something together, or holding something for me, they just love to do it. And not only is it engaging for them, but they're actually learning. They're watching me, and they're going to be able to learn. By the time they're an adult, just imagine all the projects that you've even seen, how how interested they are in watching us work. I mean, kids just love that stuff.
Yeah. So it gives you self-respect, sweats out your wickedness, overcomes temptation, and also physically it helps you overcome depression and health problems.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never happier than when I've worked hard on something and that feeling of accomplishment you get when you just complete. I mean, and the harder the job it is, the more you appreciate just having it done and just being able to stand there and look at your work and think, I did that. You know, I put my time into this, and look at it now. You know, just a sense of pride.
No doubt, and you can escape Satan's concentration camp, and that gives you a sense of accomplishment. You know, sweating out your wickedness and adding values, solving problems, and these are the kind of things you can take with you in the next life. The more capable you become.
Yeah, and I've said it on the show before. You know, if you've ever painted a car before and had to put that sandpaper in your hands to sand an entire car, get it prepped up, and then put on the mask and painted your car, you will never ever take a key to someone's car. You will never ever not put that shopping cart back in the cart corral, because you know how much work and how much sweat and time and effort it takes to put that paint on that car.
It causes you suffering when you see that done to others.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want your own car damaged, but then you start thinking about other people's cars, and you're like, I see a loose shopping cart over there, and you know the wind's blowing today. I don't want that. You know, I'll go put other people's carts away for them, just so it won't scratch someone else's car and give them, you know, cause them to have a bad day.
So so this is so much. That's why we're talking about that there is no black supremacy, white supremacy. There's only property therapy supremacy.
If everybody had the right idea about respect for themselves, respect for their property, and then learn to respect other people's property, we wouldn't have any of this stuff. I mean, there would be no buildings burning. You know, there's other ways to protest. You know, they keep calling them peaceful protesters, and I'm all for that. That's part of being in a free country. But you know, let's not start things on fire, because that's just destruction.
Yeah, taking out the convenience store or taking out people's houses or businesses around your community, that makes you matter? Heck no! Black Lives Matter don't matter by burning or destroying things. They matter by having enterprise. And that is derived from property therapy. And property therapy gives you property.
That's right. You know, get everybody together, get your agenda together, and vote. You know, protest, whatever you need to do. But you know, let's not burn stuff down in America. Let's not be like a third world country.
So not only does property therapy help you sweat out your wickedness, give you self-respect, overcome depression, health problems. A lot of the stuff, the health problems, they over-medicate people, or they go into hospitals or old folks' homes, and they come out worse than when they started.
Yeah, it seems they start off with kids. You know, if your kid can't behave in school, they try to find some kind of drugs to put you on and medicate that kid to help keep him calm, and that's.
Yeah, no, they need property therapy. It's a spiritual. It helps your spirit, and there's no doubt there is a legacy of racism in the country, and the devil works on the black community and tries to daunt them, saying, "No, you can never succeed." You know, da 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 da. So the devil is always trying to depress people and make them capture and, you know, keep you locked in Satan's concentration camp. But property therapy breaks free.
Yeah, I mean, the devil is smart, and nobody ever said the devil wasn't smart. He knows how to figure out ways and get into your head and your ways of thinking. And just imagine going through life thinking that everything happened to you was because you've been told that people are going to treat you differently because of your skin color. And I'm sure that does go on. There's plenty of examples of that going on. But I'm telling you, everybody else has the same struggles. Not exactly the same, but everybody does have their set of struggles. And you know, you can't just always blame it on one particular thing. You've got to learn to handle it, and just keep your respect for other people.
Yeah, so it increases your faith muscles as well, doing property therapy, because faith is knowledge of things as they are, which are unseen, but a knowledge of things as what they are. So you visualize what a property will be and is. It's almost like it's a formality to get you there, because the property is already there. what it can be. It's already in your head. It's there. It's like it's a route. The rest is just a formality.
Yeah, like when I start a project, I'm doing like a light remodel project right now, and when I walk through that property, I don't even see it the way it is. I can look around every wall, every door, every fixture in the bathroom or kitchen, and I already know what it's going to look like when I'm done, because I've done enough of it, and that's what keeps me going. It motivates me when I walk in that place. It might smell bad. It needs a lot of work. There's health hazards there, all kinds of things that I could be upset or bring me down, but you just use your vision of what it's going to be when you get done, and you just keep hammering away at it, working in it every day. And I know one day I'm going to leave that place. It's going to be ready for make a nice home for somebody.
One of the sponsors of the radio show, of the show, is she was telling me that she's in the black community, and we talked about if she's ever experienced racism, and she said at one time she said she went across and knocked on somebody's door, and they said, well, the guy at the door said, I don't want a beeper on my roof. And she said that, and she was so property therapist, it was like water off the duck's back. She said, well, God bless you. Take care. I hope things work out for you. So it's like evil doesn't, being evil doesn't get rid of other evil, does it?
Yeah, my first thought would be is like, well, this person needs to have a better experience with me, to put that thought in their head that, you know, he doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, so she had was so grounded in property therapy that it's just like water off a duck's back. I'm not gonna get down on that small level.
When that happens, you take two paths. You can take the path to get angry and go down a bad path, or you can take that opportunity to say, I'm going to teach this person that they're wrong.
Yeah, so she has her own construction company, so she's very grounded in the property therapy, and her construction company, we'll give her a shout out here. It's All Acres Roofing and Sidings, and the windows, and they go the distance. Their number is 816-880-9922, and I'll sing it. 816-880-9922. That's All Acres Roofing, Siding, and Gutters. Again, give them a call, 816-880-9922. I've had them put on a couple of roofs on my properties, and they did a fantastic job. So property therapy increases your faith muscles, helps you overcome health problems and depression, overcome temptation, helps you sweat out your weakness, gives you self-respect, and also reaffirms your faith in the mature, true science that there is an objective reality out there, right?
Yeah.
Because property behaves according to scientific principles, not how people are, right?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you this week. I said, as much as I like working with people and helping people with their things, and when it comes to my personal time and my work, the thing I like most about working on either cars or houses is that all these things have to obey the laws of physics. There can be there's no other things to worry about. It's just you against whatever it is you're working on, and the law applies, and that's all. There is no unknown issues to deal with. Like we were working on the air conditioner system. It's we're both somewhat familiar with the way AC works, so we wanted to just dive in and get your dad's car to where he could have some air conditioning again. And I said, well, it's just a matter of us overcoming whatever mechanically is wrong with this, and those mechanics have to follow the laws of physics, and eventually we will get it going.
Yeah, so John has done quite a few AC systems in cars, and each car has their particular pathway to where the quickest way to go about doing things, and the more you do particular cars or series of cars, the faster it gets. And if you've got videos that shows you how to access this or that, the principles are universal, but how to get to there, and the designs and whatnot can vary according to the series.
Yeah, of course, all air conditioners on cars work the same, but the way you get the components in and out differ from model to model. And the good news is you're probably not the first one that's ever had to fix whatever particular car you're working on, you can probably hop on YouTube and find a video of somebody, just type in your year, your make, your model, or model year, and you'll probably find more than one video of somebody fixing that exact model, and you can see, how do you get the compressor out. They probably got a video and some instructions. And the other helpful tip is you can actually look through the comments, because sometimes there'll be somebody else that's done it, that's left a comment on something that was helpful that the person in the video didn't know, but they were nice enough to leave a comment and say, hey, you could also try this, or I saw you did this, but if you did it this way, it'd have been a little bit easier. So go ahead and look at the video, but also read through the comments.
So getting your property and having property helps you get leverage in your life. It makes you more economically viable. And if you know how to take care of property, then it helps you realize your dreams in the future. Like your tools, you've had your tools for the longest time.
Yeah, I think my grandpa taught me that. He always had the same tools every time I saw him. He lived out of state, and he would, sometimes would come in for the summer and fix some things around the house, and because he was definitely a property therapist, and he had a lot of the same tools. And then, of course, my mom and dad always had a lot of the same tools around, so that taught me buy good tools and then take good care of them, and they will serve you well.
So all of this, we've talked about why property therapy and protecting property and issues of property and whatnot. And it sets the stage for something like protecting property is why protect property in the minds if there's injustice? Because in their minds, in the Antifa, they say, well, who cares if there's property, if there's an injustice, that's primal between property versus injustice. So let's talk about what is in their minds, what they see as injustice. Is Antifa stands for anti-fascist. So let's talk about what is fascism and what is classical Americanism. Because what's going on right now is that they're positing that like Trump and the federal system is trying to impose fascism, etc. But what actually is fascism? Let's talk about this, because they're going around, they're causing a lot of damage. So what actually is fascism versus classical Americanism? Because the Democrat Party is now going so far left to the extreme. What is historically been classical Americanism is starting to look like fascism to them, because they've gone so far to the left.
Yeah, it's
So let's talk about this. Okay, so fascism takes the guns away, like Hitler wanted the people not to be armed. Okay, wait, like classical Americanism, we have the pro-Second Amendment, which is equality for the common man. Like we had Charlie Peniston, the farmer. He was here, he's now in his 70s, a lifelong Democrat, spent time, stayed overnight in Jesse Jackson's house. And he's so pro-Second Amendment, because it's the leveler it's equality for the common person.
Yeah, he was an interesting guest. I loved hearing his stories.
Fascism is a